Weirdos to the Certified Weird podcast. You got Meg and Andie today.
Welcome back. We're so excited that you're here. We have some fun things to discuss. We've got something that we're bringing in that's brand new. We'll kind of go over that with you. And of course, there is a lot happening astrologically that we want to get you in on. So you kind of are prepared for these energies as they come in. We've got the equinox coming in. We've got Aries season, which is the start of the new astrological new year. And then we've got eclipse season. So let's get into
buckle
it.
up, friends.
Buckle up, friends. This is going to be not a bumpy ride, a guided ride to help you harness these energies for your greatest, highest good. How's that?
But it's also going to be a shit show, so let's go.
Okay, there might be that.
Yeah,
when it comes to astrological events, you just never know.
No. There's no promises for sure.
No.
But also like get excited because we're planting seeds. Lots of them.
Yes, absolutely. That is, if you go back to a couple episodes with our episode with Sarah Gunther, we talked a lot about this planting of seeds and kind of aligning with the season. So we're kind of going to be echoing that a little bit in this episode. So yeah, if you're wanting more in depth about how to work with a season, that's a fantastic episode to go back and listen to.
Yeah, definitely go back. And that one will blow your mind. She is such a powerful channel. Like you guys go listen to that if you haven't. But we're going to start our spring challenge. So we are ushering in spring. Yeah, we're ushering it in. And yes, spring
for
is
those
coming.
of us in cold weather climates, we are like so ready for this.
Yes. Yeah. And we keep getting teased. We're getting teased with these warm days, and then today it snowed, so that's fun.
Yeah. Welcome to bipolar Utah, folks.
Yeah.
Never know what you're gonna get.
Okay. Never. she does her own damn thing. Let's get into the spring challenge. And if you're not a member of the Weird Club, if you join this challenge, you get the Weird Club for a month for $1. So that'll be awesome.
Yes. Let's so how we're going to talk about the challenge. This is an open invite to everybody. If you're already in the Certified Word Club, it's already in there and it's uploaded and ready for you to run with it. If you're not a member of the Certified Word Club, we wanted to make this available to you. So we're offering a 1 month membership trial for $1. So you pay the $1, you get access to this challenge as well as like every other magical item we have in the club, which is like so much stuff. It's a little overwhelming.
So much.
We actually sat down and we really organized it a little bit more for you so that when you come in, there's a welcome video. We kind of point out 4 or 5 videos to start with and kind of help you navigate what's in there for you. So that's a great place when you get in, you pay that $1, you get into the membership, start with a welcome video, and it will kind of walk you through this. But this challenge will be resident within the club, and you can get that for just signing up for that $1 membership, and you get it for a whole 30 days for that $1. So everyone can afford a buck.
Yeah. And the challenge is free, but it's just to get into the subscription is the $1. So we're super stoked for you guys to join us. The second piece of this we want you guys to do is go join our Facebook page. Yes. And it's because we want conversation. We want more interaction with everybody. This has kind of been like all on your own within the Weird Club because there's not a lot of community component to that. And I know we all don't love Facebook. Like I know
it's not
that
the greatest.
We have it and we all don't love it, but we're going to create a container in that space and create like the weirdos. Like we're going to be there and we're going to interact with you a lot there. And you can get Andie and I there. And that's going to be a space where we can answer tons of questions and just make it fun. Like we're excited to make it super fun and get the community involved. So please go follow.
So it'll be our Facebook group that is for everyone is the Weirdos in the Wild. So that group, it's going to be a place that you can be held accountable for this challenge. You can kind of be like, oh, this is what I'm doing today. This is what I'm kind of just so that you're like kind of having someplace to go to check in so that you are giving yourself that level of accountability. And then obviously we have a separate one that is for that paid membership that's included with the club. So there's a couple different Facebook groups. So we have both of the groups that we have going on will be talking about the challenge. Just so you know. So when I say that it'll be I misspoke. I need to clarify. So you can get the challenge for free. But as a part, like a bonus, you can get the membership for $1. So you don't have to get the bonus membership for the dollar to get the challenge. I want to clarify that. You just get more
Yeah.
content to support you in the challenge if you take advantage of that dollar membership.
Yeah.
Just want to make
Yes.
sure that we're completely clear on all of that.
Yeah. And we'll have signups in like link in bio to sign up for everything so that you kind of
Right.
get the rundown of all of it. But the important piece is scroll down to your show notes and click on the Facebook group and join it because we
Yes.
have so much coming. The Weirdos in the Wild specifically, that's the name of our community. We're all the weirdos out in the wild
Yes.
doing the weirdo things. So that's going to be we're going to be dumping a lot of love and energy and creating events and just so much more coming with the Weirdos in the Wild. So don't miss out because we will put it on other socials, but that's where everything's going to kind of land is in that group. So you don't want to miss
Oh,
anything.
right. That will be our like kind of almost our container for community. So that's where you
Yeah,
can connect with other fellow weirdos. You can connect with us. So we're really excited about finding a place for us to have a community that we can have like chats. We can interact with one another. We can answer questions that you have about that week's podcast episode. If you have
yeah,
any, because Meg and I sometimes will say things and we're like, we understand them because we've been in this, and sometimes we forget that like we need to kind of dissect things a little bit more, and we are so happy to do so. So please ask your questions, because I'm sure if you have a question, other people do as well, and they appreciate the person asking the question. So that's what that
for
community
sure.
will do. So we're excited
Yeah.
about having that next layer of being able, because this is
Mhm.
always, since we started this thing of January of last year, it's always been about building a community. We wanted a
Yeah,
place where you
always.
could come to to connect, to learn, to grow, because when you start the waking up process, it is a lot. It's a lot of confusion. It's a lot of like, I don't even know what's going on right now. Am I going crazy? Like, what is happening right now? This is a place I like,
Mhm.
oh, that's okay. This astrological event's happening today. That's why I feel this way. I get it now. I'm not going crazy. That's what the
Yeah,
club
yeah,
what that membership's going to be for. That Facebook group, I
yeah.
should say.
Yeah, and when we have community to share with and we don't feel alone, that's when actual true deep healing can take place. That's when we can go into the shadow and be like, okay, I'm going to dig into this because I've got people that have got my back. And if I get stuck in anything, I can conversate and I can put, ask more questions, ask deeper. And it's not just going to be us that are able to help you find an answer. I mean, just looking at this season on the podcast, the amount of practitioners, the amount of people that we have, if you're like, something feels off in my hip, and we have a chiropractor that's like, hey, if we adjust it, you're going to experience this. Like, we want this to be a community where you can bring yourself to and be like, I'm at this level. I'm trying to level up. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to, you know, ascend and I'm stuck or I'm running into blocks. And you've got a lot of people that can hold mirrors with education and understanding for you that'll help you see maybe what's going on, whether it's health related, spirit related, body related. We're trying to encompass everybody in one space of like, we see you. We totally see you and we get it. And a lot of times we don't get that. We don't get this being seen. We're like, oh, they're a weirdo, right? Like, we've been judged that
Yeah.
way our whole life, most of us.
Yeah, most of us
and
have
and
had a really kind of lonely go of it, where we have felt isolated. We have felt like we're like, oh, you can't sit here. You're not cool enough to sit at our table. Like, that's not the case here. We really want to be able to compete. We're like, come, there's always a spot safe for you. No matter what
yes,
your weird is,
yes,
we're grateful you're here.
yes. And it gives you a space too to like wiggle around and figure out what your weird even is. Like,
Right.
what
What
does
is
it
your
look
magic?
like? Yeah. And so with this Facebook group also, we want to be able for people to share what they do. And we do have a
Yes.
spot in the Weird Club for that as well. Like, if you're on our podcast, we open it up like, hey, here's an avenue for you to share your magic as, further if you want to do a meditation or something similar. But also we want people to be able to go on and be like, hey, I'm trying to build a community, through this modality or through that modality. And you have a space to go place yourself and say, if you feel drawn or called to me, I'm available. I'm willing to hold space. I have extra space to hold where you can share yourself and you can be vulnerable and be like, I just learned Reiki. I'm starting to try to build clientele. Whatever it looks like, there's a space there for you that you can
Yeah.
share as well.
We will be gatekeepers if people are taking advantage of this and spamming. We will be very clear on that. That is
Yes.
not acceptable within the
Yes.
group. But if you are coming in with a genuine, open heart and wanting to share your gifts, we are here for you and we are fully supportive of that. So just want to
yes,
make sure.
Yes. Yes. And Andie and I will be your number one hype women. Like we really will be that. Obviously within boundary, and we can feel the energetics. Like if it's coming from a genuine space, we'll know. If it's not, we'll know.
Like we will know we can tell, we can spot that shit a mile away. We don't play.
We can sniff that out. Yeah.
Sniff it out.
But
so,
but for us, it's like if we see you, and for example, I just bought 25 rings from two women that opened a crystal shop in a tiny little town. Like we are going to be the first people to like support you 100,000%.
Yes.
So if you're like, that might come in handy at some point on my journey, go join, because it's meant for a community. Andie and I will be the ones that, navigate and help guide and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's for everybody. So
yeah,
also,
we want everyone to have a chance to shine.
Yeah. And we will shine right. Like we will beam the light at you. We want you in that light. We will. So
yes, absolutely.
We will.
That's kind of what we do.
Another piece. Yeah. And it's our favorite thing in the world to do. Truly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Truly. So that's the important piece. Facebook, right? We're going to take some beautiful light to Facebook, even though we all don't love it, but we're going to land there. The second part of this challenge is that we are getting to Spring Equinox. So this challenge is open at any point that you like drop into it. It's not like a 75 days. It's whenever you hear it. Connect, start. There's not an end date. The only end date is that the intention is to get us to Spring Equinox, but even afterwards, it's beneficial. So if you jump on and you're like, oh, I missed the challenge. No, you didn't. Like start today. And
you're hearing it exactly when you need to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're always welcome. So we will kind of we'll keep that going. And when this one ends, we'll probably end up starting another one, but we'll always kind of have an evolving which element we're using, why we're doing it, different intentions, but we'll always kind of have a running something going because we're building community, right?
Yes, we are.
So Spring Equinox is coming. Andie, what do we need to know about the Spring Equinox? I mean, Sarah told us a lot, but what do we need to know?
Sarah told us a lot. So equinoxes are a time of fated events. So they're always tied to the eclipse season. So it's more important. What you need to know is that now we're moving seasons. So we're moving into cardinal season, which is that of the Aries, which is anytime that we have a cardinal season, it's a start of a season. So Aries is when we start spring. Cancer's a cardinal season. That's when we start summer. Then we have Libra, and that's another cardinal sign. That's when we start fall. And then we have, of course, Capricorn is when we start winter. So those are our 4 cardinal signs. So that's kind of a fun thing even to know, like what that means when you hear fixed sign, cardinal sign, mutable sign. If you are born in one of those months, if you're an Aries, if you're a Libra, if you're a Cancer or a Capricorn, you are a cardinal sign. That means you're starting something. You're a starter. So there is this like a lot of momentum that builds in Aries season because we're now starting a new season. We're starting and not only are we starting a new season, we're starting a new astrological year. That's why Pisces is so dense, is because we're like literally using the water of Pisces season to clear out anything we have not yet cleared out from the year before. And that's why it's really kind of almost intense this time of year, because you're doing a lot of deep work right now.
Yeah.
And then we move into
it's
Aries,
the end
which
of
is
winter. Everything's dead.
Everything's dead. We're like, we're cleaning it all out. I keep feeling like this energy of like, let's, kind of fold up this rug. Let's dust underneath the rug. Let's get all these limiting beliefs that have been hiding out underneath this rug this whole time. Let's clean them out. It's time. It's time to let them go.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at right now. And then as we move into eclipse season, eclipses don't mess around. They love to get you to see what you need to see. So
Yeah.
depending on what is activated for you, we've got 2 eclipses. We've got one in Libra, and then when we've got a moon eclipse in Libra, and then a full solar eclipse in Aries. Those are March 25th and April 8th, and those are tied right to that equinox energy. So this is almost like this portal of change that opens with that equinox going into Aries season, then going into that first eclipse on the 25th, then the second eclipse on the 8th of April. So this is kind of a corridor of change that we're stepping into. And I'm sure a lot of you who are hypersensitive to collective energy are already starting to feel this energy because it's starting to build pretty quickly as we get closer.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're looking at with eclipse. So it'll be interesting to look on your chart. So when you're looking at your own natal chart in astrology, you're going to want to see what houses are ruled by Aries and Libra, because those are the 2 houses that are going to be affected by the eclipse. Those are the things that you're going to be asked to look at. Those are the things you're going to be reminded of. So those are important things to take note of. Okay, like let's say my Aries rules my 5th house. So I'm going to have to look at my creative self-expression. How am I choosing to express joy? How am I inviting joy into my daily routine? How are my romantic relationships looking? Because house 5 is kind of a party house. It's a fun one. So like, that's lucky for me. A lot of you guys are dealing like with 12th house, 8th house, and it's a little heavier. But with that,
do you remember what my house was, Andie? Do you remember mine?
Yes, I think it's the opposite of me, because I think I literally think our charts are. I'll pull it up real quick.
Opposite.
Talk about something else while I pull up your chart real quick.
Please. The other cool thing with the equinoxes that Sarah talked about is like those windows of fate and manifestation. So something that we're going to be like heavily focusing on for everything that we're doing is manifestation and consistency in your manifestation.
Okay. I just
pulled
up Meg's chart. We're going to circle back to this. Okay. So I'm in the 5th house, which is like a creative expression about yourself, self-expression. Meg, again, our charts are like literally a mirror of each other as far as house placements. Yeah. So her Aries is in the 11th house, which is the opposite of the 5th house on the chart. So she's going to, when it's in Aries, which is that April 8th date, that is when she will look at community, the collective. What is she bringing? What is her community bringing to her? Those are the things that are going to be highlighted. Then, and when it's in Libra on March 25th, she will be looking at the 5th house, and I will be looking at the 11th house. It's just flip-flopped.
See, and we're in the middle of building a community and like rediscovering our self-identities, and like, of course,
obviously, we're both getting both our 5th and 11th houses are super activated right now with the Aries and Libra, just that nodal access right now.
Yeah.
What's getting highlighted for us? Building a community and our self-expression. You guys can't make this shit up. Okay. You cannot make this up. We're in. We're here for it. But we're here for it. Come on, guys.
Right. We can't make this up. This is astrology. This is science, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the first.
Just kidding.
Certified
science. Okay. Let's get back on track. We can be serious. No, we can't. It's fine.
No, we don't want to.
Nope.
So the first portion of this focus on our challenge is going to be nutrition. And we want to be very, 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 very clear. We are not talking about restriction or dieting in any kind of way, like even a little bit.
Absolutely not.
We have 4 categories to choose from. Either your protein intake, if not, you're taking greens, supplements, and good quality water. That is where we want you focused. You can pick one of those to start. Just
or
one.
If you're just one. Yeah. Notice
and
how
I
there
say
was
just
not
go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, you're fine. We've got a little bit of lag between us. So notice that none of those were calorie counting.
No.
Or cutting anything out. Or restricting. Yeah. We're just adding more, because if you're eating sugar, you've got to have that protein to balance it. You've got to have those greens to help ground you. Like you need good quality water. These are small, simple things you can do. And I would recommend, if you are wanting to get into supplements, go see Kristen, go see, oh my gosh, Rachel, our two hair gals. They're both amazing. One's in Utah, one's in Austin. I know they both do remote. That's a great place to stay, because they will test your hair and then they will tell you where you're deficient on your supplements, so that you're a little bit more guided in what supplements you're taking.
Yep. And make sure that they're decent quality supplements. And we understand that money is a factor. Like, we get that deeply. So when you're looking at this list, one of the first things I want you to be is like, what's my fuck yes right now? Like, what's something that financially I can do, emotionally I can do, that's like a easy added in nutrition. So if that means increasing your protein would require financially, physically buying more groceries, like, we get it. It's super I mean, just yesterday, I'm like, my grocery bill went up $12 for the same things I buy every week, like, already. Like, we get it. So if that one is not it, if that's not it, that's okay. Greens, I will plug. I have a really good source for greens that I do get a kickback on. We in Certified Weird, because it's a Certified Weird account. I can connect you to that if you're needing something. Again, it's going to be an investment. The quickest one that you could do with the lowest investment is good quality water. And we're not jumping straight to buying a big machine that, like, we're jumping to, there is a water store in your city for sure. Go and get some 5-gallon jugs. That's just your drinking water, and make sure you add back in some minerals. So we've got, the cost of some water and maybe some trace minerals. And that's, that's a really good entry level way to be able to get money fast. Okay.
Yeah. And to get into this and really start taking care of
I said, get money fast. That too. We're manifesting also, but do this and not have limitations to be able to do it because of money.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And that's one thing that we're really going to focus on a lot this month in the Certified Weird Club is manifesting and bringing in abundance, because that's a great time. This is some really good energy to work with the eclipses, with the equinox, to bring abundance in. So we will be talking about that, of course. But if you're really kind of like, I need to start small, I don't have the budget for it right now, water's an easy way to do that. And you can get electrolytes that are decent quality for very reasonable. So that's an easy way to kind of get in there.
Yes. So with nutrition, picking one of those, but add intention. Why? Like, why are you going to start with water? Is it because you have been drinking shit water? And honestly, on a molecular level, there's so many chemicals in that from being treated. There's so much stuff in there that's blocking your third eye. That's, there's a lot. You could do a ton of research, but also add some intention to your water. So if it's water specifically, maybe you're beaming love into it. Maybe you're blessing it with Reiki. Maybe you just simply say a blessing over the water, so that you're consuming, all the water you're consuming is in that intention. So we're going to add one more deeper layer, add some intention to it also. Same thing with supplements. I'm supplementing extra for my body, and this is out of love. This is because I'm deficient here, so if I give the intention of these supplements with love and take them, you're adding even more value. Same thing with the greens. The greens is a really good way to stay grounded and in the body, and that's something that we don't add that intention to why we're taking greens, right? But if you add the intention of like, ground me into my body and help me feel safer in my body with the greens, there's a deeper intent there. And then protein, just like we said, we do have a pretty toxic intake in general, whether that's sugar, dyes, whatever it is, that's a pretty toxic intake no matter what we're doing. We're trying, even our fruits and vegetables, there's pesticides and different things. So we have a pretty high level toxic intake. And if you are getting a good quality protein, it's going to help the free radicals. It's going to help you actually digest food. It's going to help all that process. So we're talking deeper layers here than just like, count how much protein you're taking. No, just get a better quality protein, or maybe consume a little bit more than you think that you need, because you probably need a lot more to help combat. So that's our nutrition section. Pick one of those. And I say one of those because we want this to be totally attainable. And we don't want you to make a huge change in what you're already doing, because that is not sustainable for any of us. Like, it needs to be micro changes for the macro. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, overachievers, we're talking to you. Micro changes.
Yeah. Just do one. And
Just do
that's
one.
enough.
That's
Yeah.
enough.
You're doing enough. Yes. Um, and we're switching seasons. So the other thing with the nutrition that maybe could just be an invitation is eat what's in season. And that would mean like more potatoes and like earthy type stuff right now, because we're still in winter. Like, we're still in like that, like, last of the winter. We need to be hibernating, eating extra denser food, like eat with the season. So as we're getting into spring coming in, switch it up for what's in season. Like, you'll know what's in season. And if you don't know, you can look it up, or just look at the grocery store. Like, you'll
Yeah.
see what's in season. Yeah, what's out right out front, that's in
And what's on
season,
sale
right?
is usually what's in season because
Yeah, they have
because
plethora
it costs
of.
them less that time of year because it's in season.
Yep, yep. And that's the nutrition piece. And you're committing to yourself a daily intention with it. And now that's so we'll go on this little tangent for a second before we move to the
I love
next
it.
one. Um, so I've been doing this, and this is why we were excited about this challenge, was because I was like, part of it was therapy. My therapist was like, okay, what can you be consistent with? What can you, Meg, you're really broad, and like, you've committed to like a zillion things. Like, slow down, like narrow it down to what you can actually commit to and like follow through with, right? So I've been really consistent. I first committed that I was going to get up and get myself ready every day, because I was very pregnant and I was very much not caring, because I'm like, what's the point? I'm fat, I'm pregnant, and we just kind of give up at the end because nothing fits. And, it's kind of a tough place to be. But I was like, my therapist asked me, what's one thing you could do that's going to like help get you out of that funk a little bit? I'm like, well, if I put makeup on, I usually feel a lot better. So it started there. I'm going to make this commitment to myself to get up and get ready, no matter if I have somewhere to go or not. And I didn't have anywhere to go. I had literally hermited into a cave of my home, and I didn't go anywhere because it was cold. It was December, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to commit this. I'm going to get up every day and get ready. And it changed my life, truly. And it wasn't because I was getting ready. It was because I was keeping a commitment to myself consistently. And I was
Yeah.
doing it every single day, no matter what. And then she's like, then you can start adding other things, right? Like, then once you have some consistency built. So then I was like, I really should focus on some nutrition. So for me, it was protein and grains specifically. And I was like, okay, I'm going to add these in every day, a really good protein and a really good grains. And I'm going to add those every day. That started kicking in, right? I was consistent. I didn't miss any days. I'm getting to my point. I also committed to myself to do skincare every day. And I'm like, okay, so in the morning, I'm going to have this added thing that I need to do proteins and grains. And in the evening, at least, and now I do twice a day, I'm going to wash my face and I'm going to put some things on there to try to heal my skin. So those two, nutrition and self-love were really important. Those are two things that I'm going to add to getting ready every day, because I was already getting ready every day, but I for sure wasn't washing my makeup off at night because it felt hard at the time for me. So now I'm going to add two little things. Well, fast forward to this weekend. It was kind of a spur of the moment. We're going to jump in the car and go to my mom's house. I immediately dropped everything. I immediately dropped all the habits, all the things I had committed to myself. And it wasn't until I added journaling later, but it wasn't until I was like, went to open my journal and I saw that I missed a day. And I was like, oh, I missed a day of journaling. And I was like, oh, fuck, I missed a day of protein. I missed a day of greens. I for sure didn't wash my face last night. Like, all of a sudden I had this moment with my journal that I was like, damn it, I didn't follow through. And when I didn't follow through on all of them. It wasn't just one of them that like, oh, I forgot to write in my journal. I got to start over. That's okay. But it was like, I didn't do any of them because I hadn't done one of them. And so it's really important that you guys don't commit to too much at once. And for me, I was like, oh, I found my threshold. I found where I stopped the commitments to myself. And for me, that was because I'm going to be with family or I'm out of town, right? And we can call that an excuse, Or we can say that's my edge. Like that's my edge right there. Like all of these commitments, when they fall through is when I leave town or if family's involved or whatever. And one of the things with this challenge that I really, really, really want you to do is get curious, start paying attention to like when I do miss one of these. And immediately we're going to go into shame or guilt, right? Like, dang it. Like I messed up or I failed. And I did. I wrote at the top of my journal, I was like, damn it. I failed myself in my commitments. Like, wait, like I was like upset at myself, with myself, and sad for myself, like all in the same moment. Cause I was like, no, like I totally, like, and I didn't mean to. It was totally, I packed 5 kids and all of their, like, it was valid. Like, it was valid why I messed up, right? But immediately I went to shaming myself. And so a huge part of this challenge that I want to reiterate is we are not going to stay in shame, like
No.
of any of this. And this is where I want it to be different because yeah, we can do like 75 hard and like you miss a day, you start over, like, or, like that kind of harsher,
Oh, I don't like
shame
that.
driven. Nobody does. Nobody likes
Yeah.
that. Everyone's like, fuck, I just did 30 days for nothing. Like immediately we're in that. And we're not going to be in that. And
No.
so a huge component of this challenge, and at the next sentence I wrote in my journal is life happens and it's okay. I'm freaking proud of myself. I've been consistent since the second week of December. And the first time I go out of town, I struggle for one day. Like, it's okay, Meg. And I like wrote it in like big letters. Like, it's freaking okay. Like, nobody outside of myself is holding this against me. Only I
Yeah.
am holding this against me. Like, nobody else really cares, honestly. So, a huge component of this challenge is when the shame starts to talk, we're going to replace it with something like, I'm freaking incredible. Like, I'm doing enough. I am amazing. Something that replaces the shame. So, if you do
Absolutely.
miss a day, guess what? It's okay. Like, right? Like, it's
You're
okay.
human. Do better
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we're all humans. So
Yeah.
this is kind of where this challenge was adopted from, kind of a little bit. So the next portion is your self-love ritual. Andie, what's your favorite self-love ritual right now that you're doing?
My favorite is so for my autoimmune, I have a lot of muscle issues where like I get really like my muscles get tight. They get like, it feels like I ran a freaking marathon and I did absolutely nothing. So for me, I have found I go to a place and I do infrared sauna every day, and then I do red light
Mm-hmm.
therapy. And that's been like, and I have to be in the sauna. The sessions are like 20 to 30 minutes. So I take that time and I meditate while I'm in this like little cocoon type thing. And it has been such a beautiful thing. It's really
Mm-hmm.
helping my body. It's really helping me not have as much pain. But it's also like this quiet, like I can go
Mm-hmm.
meditate. I can kind of like just, I've had some really cool downloads and experiences within this little tiny like capsule cocoon, but that's it. That's been like something I've added that I stay pretty consistent with. And I do
I
in
love
like it's
that.
something I look forward to every morning. I'll drop Tay off at school and then I go directly to the studio where I do my sessions. And it has
I
been
love
so
that.
awesome.
That's magic.
It's so
And my
magic.
favorite time, yeah, my favorite time was when I was going to the sauna consistently. Like it's pretty magic.
Yeah.
And let me reiterate for those that are not in that season of your life, that's not required either. Like for me, I'm in my bathroom, usually with all 3 of my babies screaming because it's bedtime and it's the worst time of the day. And I'm like, no, I'm washing my face. Hold on, hold on. Like I'm coming as I'm like trying to do my skincare. So this is the other thing too, is like honoring the season that you're in. Because for
Right.
Andie, like her kids are teenagers. She's like drops them off at school. I guess Tay's not quite there. Drops
She's
them off at
almost this
school
year.
and
Yeah.
yeah, she has that time to go and do that thing, right? And this is the other thing that we get really hard on ourselves too is like I got to do the thing. So when you're doing this self-love ritual, for me it's washing my face at night. And a lot of us that's where we're at. If we're in survival, it's like I mean, I can't even afford the soap to wash my face. Like some of us are in that space and that's okay. Like we're getting out of that, a lot of us, and finding, but if you're in that space, make these self-love rituals like absolutely attainable. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to have your husband there to babysit in order for it to happen, because we know how that goes sometimes. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen. And then you're not keeping the commitment to yourself because someone else is factoring, right? Like
Yeah.
make this completely attainable for yourself, for your schedule, and your whole family dynamic.
Yeah. You don't have to overcomplicate this. Like it can be so easy. I'm lucky. My kids are older. I have a lot more freedom in my time. But there was definitely a
Right.
time where like getting any time by myself was a luxury. So it
Yeah.
was like putting in headphones and taking the kids to park and doing like a walking meditation while they played. Like
Yeah.
I found the time when I had it, or maybe it was I woke up an hour earlier before the kids woke up, and that was my time. I've always
Yep.
tried to carve out for me. Mornings are easier than night because like once it gets to be past 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I'm like literally useless. Not literally, but like pretty close to it, guys.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm very tired. So mornings I do better. So like I'll usually have I would do like a quiet meditation or I'd go exercise. And that was my time before the kids woke up. So find
Yeah, and
what works for you.
and that's a good point, because some of us like have a lot of extra energy and optimal in the morning. Some of us are more at night. For me, it's night. It's like 8 p.m. and the kids are down, and all of a sudden, all this creativity starts flowing for me.
I'm like, peace
Andy's
out.
always like, Meg. I'm like texting her at like 9:30 at night, like, Andie, what do you think of this? She's like, I'm freaking asleep. Leave me alone. We're
Or
opposites.
we're opposites in a lot of ways, guys.
So
But it works for
that's a
us.
huge, it does, but that's a
Yeah.
huge piece of the timing too. So these need to be habits stacked. So we all have like a rhythmic habit of things that we do. Some of them are healthier habits, some of them maybe not. Who that's just judgment regardless. But look at your day, and when do you already do stuff? Like you already, the first thing you do when you wake up is you go straight to the coffee maker to make coffee. If like something that you already rhythmically do is where I want you to kind of slide these little things in that we're
Yeah.
adding,
Just that
instead of like
habit
being.
stacking.
Yes, yes. So let's say for you, you're like, okay, self-love ritual. And on here, we say, tune into your heart and see where you could use more love, which leaves it super open-ended, which for some people can feel overwhelming. To others, it's like, ooh, I could do anything I want. Like it's so exciting. So sit with whatever comes up for you. And for example, mine was skincare, because I caught myself complaining about my skin, being like, gosh, my skin is so bad. Ever since I got pregnant, my skin's terrible. And then I'm like, Meg, what are you doing about that? Like you complain about it a lot, but like, what are you doing about it? And that's why I was like, oh, skincare. Like that's going to be something, because if I'm going to complain, nothing changes if nothing changes. So here we go. We're going to try skincare. Listen to yourself. Like what's something that yourself has been saying a lot or bringing up a lot? Like, I wish I had more time to this. Maybe I wish had more time to dance, or I wish I had whatever your
Yeah.
heart has been saying. We're listening, and we're going to create this self-love thing that answers that. You'll hear it, right?
Yeah. Or even like if you're like, I don't even know what that is for me. Like I don't know what stands out to me on the list of nutrition. I don't know what self-love I need right now. Guys, you are your own guru. You have everything
Mm-hmm.
you need within you. So what I would do if I were you and you're like a little lost, you don't know which direction to go, sit down, get really quiet, ask the question, and just see what pops up. And you will feel an answer come through. It'll be like, girlfriend, I need more water. Please give me more water. So you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. It's water. And then it's like romanticize and have a moment with your coffee every morning where it's like you're drinking your coffee
Yep.
anyway. Just say a blessing over it and just think about all the things that you're grateful for while you drink. That's all I want you to do. And it can be as
Yeah.
simple as that. But ask
Yep.
yourself what it needs and it will always tell you.
Yeah.
But you got to be in your body.
And this You do. Yeah. And you got to
Yeah,
listen to the body, because
the
here's
body.
the other piece too. The self-love ritual, we want to be not necessarily, we're not pigeonholing it to body things, but like we're also trying to get in the bodies. So listen to the body, because the spirit might say one thing, the mind might say another thing. Like this portion, let's focus that on the body. What does the body
Yeah.
need? Some love. For me, it was also paint my toenails, because I had like like very heavily neglected. And I like what it feels like when I look at my little piggies and they're cute. Like it, at the end of the day, does it matter? Not necessarily, but it does. And
It
on an
matters to
energetic
you.
level,
It's important to
it
you.
does. Yes. And so also next one, self-love ritual, we're finding that. So we're listening to the body nutrition, we're listening to the body self-love. And now we're going to tell the body when we're listening and when it's like working. Okay. So we're going to pick an affirmation. For me right now, it's I am not afraid, because I'm clearing and working through a lot of fear, like a lot. Trauma induced fear recently from my son and different things, but also like generational fear that I'm trying to help clear. So mine right now is I'm not afraid. So every single time I feel like stuckness, stickiness, fear come up, anything, my affirmation is I am not afraid. And I say it probably 2,000 times a day, if I'm being honest,
I
like
love it.
a lot right now,
Right. I love
because
that.
there's a lot of mirroring in my life. Andie, what's one you're working on right now?
One that I'm working on right now is so when you grow up with a very unsettled childhood, that's your baseline. Instability is stability to you. So, what I have found as I've done the work is that I'm not used to things being stable. So, I will create instability in my life when I don't need to. So, I am purposely trying to make my life harder, even though that's
Yeah.
not consciously what I want to do. Subconsciously, that's what I've been doing. I'm like, so that's something that's come up to my attention, is that I literally will do things to make my life harder because my
Yeah.
baseline is instability. So like if my life is really stable, that's not normal. That doesn't feel safe. So I'm going to introduce something that makes my life hard that I have to work through and struggle with so that that is normal for me. So
Mm-hmm.
my affirmation I've been working on is that my life gets to be easy. My life gets to be
I love
soft.
that.
It's okay for my life to be good. It's safe for my life to be easy.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
love
what
that.
I almost will envision like universe sending me like bricks that are hard, and I'm gently
Mm.
like reshaping them into something that's soft, that's easy for me to like digest almost even.
Yeah, you're alchemizing it. You're
I'm
turning it
alchemizing it.
from.
So like
Mm-hmm.
this, no, I'm not taking any of those crazy bricks anymore. No. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
I'm making it
Nope.
soft, I'm making it easy.
Yes.
So that's something
And
that I've
this,
been working
and
on.
I love that. And with this challenge, that's exactly what we want you doing. We want you alchemizing what's blocking you or holding you back into like what's propelling you forward. So every time you feel said thing, you're replacing it with, well, I'm not afraid. My inner child starts talking and I'm like, well, I'm not afraid. So sorry you were, but we're transmuting that. We're alchemizing that. We're changing it to something different. So by telling yourself this affirmation over and over and over and over and over again, you're going to rewire the brain. You're going to rewire it. So if it, like, for example, if yours is self-doubt, then I trust my instincts. I trust my intuition, like kind of giving yourself something to replace it with. And maybe if you're unsure and you're like, I don't know an affirmation, I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to know what it is that I need. But adopting an affirmation that's going to help rewire, it's going to help.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that you could do if you wanted to in the affirmation is I'm committing to myself. It could be that simple. I'm
Yeah.
committing to myself.
I'm
These
committing to
changes,
consistency.
yes, yes. I'm committing to compassion for self. I'm committing to grace for myself. Something that you're like, okay, I'm doing this challenge because I want to feel a certain kind of way. This affirmation is going to confirm that. It's going to help your body be like, oh, we're changing. This is important. I'm committing to myself, find what's blocking you, find what's kind of holding you back, and replace it with what you want instead with this affirmation. And I want you guys to say it a lot of times a day, like a lot. We have 60,000 thoughts a day that we're combating if they're not working in our favor. The subconscious takes over and you think the same 60,000 thoughts every single day, whether that's anxiety for because rent is coming and then you think about it and you think about it and you think about it, or whether that's excitement for a creative project and you think about it. It's the same thoughts. You have on average 60,000 a day. So we have to be consistently changing those to change the direction of what we're creating or manifesting. So
Yeah.
these affirmations are for that, in order for us to change the narrative. And if the narrative is like, holy shit, I'm scared, I don't want to walk in the grocery store, it's going to be really intense, because this is my reality, you guys, right now. Like, someone could kill me while I'm in the grocery store. It sounds very irrational, but it happens in my head. Like, I think it, because I've been in such a deep fear loop for a fat minute. So every time I'm like, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid, it redirects the brain to be like, oh, that's an old thought pattern that I don't need. We're going to clear that and move it
Yep.
out.
We're
So
going to
that
make a
when we
new
do the
brainwave.
Mm-hmm. And so this is not just like a cute little affirmation. Like, we're rewiring the brain with this. So get really clear. Don't stress, because no one else even knows what it is. Just get clear for yourself on what it is you want to tell yourself instead, so that you're in control of what the mind is thinking. Okay?
I love it.
The next portion is, it has to be fun or you have failed. If you are
I
being
love it.
serious, if you're being serious, you failed. Just straight up. Like, if you're over here like, oh no, like I have to do this right, you failed. It has to be rainbows and sunshine and love for the soul, for the body. It has to be fun. So if you're like, okay, so now I have to like eat more protein, I have to love myself more, and it gets heavy, try again. Like, do it over. Like, rip that paper up and throw it away and like start over. It needs to be fun, something that's enjoyable. So if you've habit stacked something that feels heavy, try again, make it fun. If it's dance your body's asking for it, like, it needs to be fun. So take whatever you created, mold it until it feels like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so much fun, I can't wait.
Yes.
Okay, that's a requirement in the
Yep.
challenge.
That is like the most important step of this challenge, actually.
It is. And we'll reiterate it a lot. Like, throughout the challenge, we'll reiterate that a lot. Andie, when I say now we need to journal, what comes to mind for you?
Probably like young women's journal your history,
Yes.
write to your future
Yeah.
self. Um, that being said, that's immediately where, like, obviously that programming lies when we think about journaling. It's usually like something you were told that you needed to do for posterity and all that shiz. But I actually have really come to love journaling. So for me, it actually is something I actually really do enjoy. Like, I will like write a question and then I will immediately go into channeling, where I'm getting an answer. My handwriting changes and I'm getting an answer to that question I asked. So journaling does not look like a daily dialogue of like, I ate a banana, I took the kids to the park. Like, that's not how I journal. Like, you could probably look at any of my journals and have no idea what my life was like, because that's not what I do with journaling. It is more like this connection to myself. I have a manifestation journal where I write an affirmation every morning, and then I write, the universe is my sugar daddy. It loves to provide me with all of my desires, and then I write out what my desires are, and then I
love
pull.
that.
I know, it's kind of a fun one. So journaling looks completely different. I don't even know if people would be like, oh, that's actually not journaling. I'm sure there's somebody who would shame me for it, but
who fucking cares about those people?
But that's for me, it has been worked.
Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, everybody has like this writer's block thing, because we were raised in a system that our writing was judged or graded, like our English was graded and judged. And so it's kind of a collective block of like, well, what if I write it wrong? What if my handwriting sucks? Because my handwriting was also judged. I can't, whatever it is. I didn't learn cursive. That's the one thing. My kids are required to do cursive in school. And I'm like,
are you still doing cursive?
Yeah. At a charter school.
I don't think they're doing it in public school really anymore. My kids, I'm like, you need to sign your name here, Boston, for this thing. And he's like, I don't know. He writes his name. I'm like, that's not a signature. So I don't know if they're still doing it or he just doesn't care. One of the two. I mean,
that was one of their arguments, is that they'll have a good signature. And I'm like, I mean, that's true, but requiring cursive feels like a lot, but whatever. Yeah. So when I say journaling, a lot of us feel some sort of way. And most of us judge. We judge ourselves right away that I'm not going to do it right. Or I might, like, what if I don't know what to say? Or like immediately we judge. So this part of the challenge is going to just be to move some of that judgment out of self. And it starts with journaling, but then it's going to go deeper. It's going to go into like, my truth shouldn't be shared and nobody cares what I have to say. And like, there's all these ugly things that come up when we start to journal. So we're not going to say you have to journal, but we're going to say, like, we want to know your story. Like, we want to know what came up for you that day. Like,
Yeah.
whatever was moving in your story. So we're going to challenge you to set a timer for 7 minutes
Seven
and
minutes
just
in heaven,
start
baby.
writing. Yeah, just start writing. That's it. That's all we're asking. Um, Plug in the Weird Club, we do have journals every month that have dope questions and some really good prompts that you could like grab one from that and do that if you wanted. There's some direction there, easy. And these journals are awesome because you'll have the the habit tracker in there already. It's they're all kind of linking together. But we're setting a timer for 7 minutes and we're telling the universe, like, I'm excited to share my story. And then we're writing. And whatever ends up on that page is good enough. You're not limited to 7 minutes, but like at least 7 minutes. So then you can get like the few minutes of judgment and like doubting and questioning yourself out of the way. And then like 5 or so minutes of letting it flow, and it's just
Yeah.
your story. It doesn't matter. Like Andie said, you could write a question and then just free write, or you could be very specific with what you're writing about. You could be like, I ate a banana today and I took the kids to the park. Nobody actually cares. But
No.
the important piece is that taking your story from your mind or your heart and putting it onto paper helps you also recognize in yourself, like, what story are you telling yourself? And if it's not the story that you want to be living, like, where could you make some changes? And that's the fun part, because you are the creator of your reality, truly. Like,
Right. So I want to add like an extra little fun thing that you could do here. If you're like, this whole journaling thing, you had me along this whole challenge until you got to journaling. Here's another fun way to look at journaling. Journal about what you want your life to look like. You're
yeah.
literally writing your story of how you want your life to look. If you're trying to move into a new house, what does that house look like? I woke up in my new house and it feels so beautiful. Like we just got beautiful white shutters and I love it. And I go out and my
Mm-hmm.
kitchen has the perfect paint color that I picked out. That is a fantastic way to journal what's on your heart, what you actually, and it helps you really get clear on what you want. And then you're starting to build a story about what you want to call in. You're getting the details. You're like, I
Mm-hmm.
want a house on half an acre. We've got chickens. I'm so excited about my freaking chickens. I'm going to go out and take care of my chickens every day. Like you're really getting into the story. That's where you're able to
Mm-hmm.
tie in the imagination. And once you get that
Yep.
imagination engaged, it's game on. You're
Yeah.
really tapping into that creative mode, which is what you need to tap into manifesting. So if
Yep.
you're like, oh my gosh, I can't write about my day of bananas and taking my kids to the park. I just can't. Write about what you want. I took the kids to Disneyland
Exactly.
today and it was amazing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
make it lies. They're not lies. You're wanting to call this in. You're crafting what it is you want to create. So it's kind of a fun way to look
Yeah.
at doing generally differently. That just came in. Sorry. I had to bring it up.
Yeah. No, I love it. The other thing that I do sometimes too is like I'll pretend to write to my pen pal, because I had
Ooh,
a
I like
pen
that.
pal in elementary school for 2 whole years. Her and I were pen pals, and it was so much fun because I'd be like, she doesn't know anything about my life. She's never even met me in person. What would I want her to know? Like, what are like the cool parts of my day, or what are, like, and when you can write to a pen pal in your journal, it's really fun because then when you go back and read it, you're reading it like you are the pen pal, and it's super exciting because you're like, oh yeah, I even forgot those details, because we keep going and life keeps moving on. My grandma actually is the person that invited me to do that, because my grandma has journaled every day of her life, like hundreds of journals, and hers is a lot of just like keeping like facts and things, not a lot of emotion. But she's like, but my other journals, I write to my pen pal. And I can't wait to publish my grandma's journals when she's gone to her pen pal. Like, how cool would that be? So that's a good idea too. You could like
Yeah.
write to a pen pal. this is just fun. And
Yeah.
if any point you write one of these and you're like, holy shit, this needs to be shared, that's also going to be a space in the Facebook group. If you're like, I just channeled the most incredible journal entry, please share them. Because if
Yes.
of course, if you feel drawn, if that feels
Right.
like a fuck yes, you never have to, never. But if there's one where you're like, holy shit, this needs to be shared, please share them, because that's nothing's more fun than to get a glimpse into someone's like super vulnerability and you sharing one of those journal entries. So that's an open invitation. Please, obviously within boundary and respect of everybody, but like if you've got a journal entry that needs to be shared, please share it. So that's the
Yes.
next
We're
piece.
here for it.
And the last and final but most important piece, give yourself some damn credit for doing it. Like,
Yes.
you have to. We go about our day adding in all these little better habits, and for us it's great, and we committed to ourselves, and we're happy and proud of ourselves. But something about being a driven, like just generally driven by incentives and by validation and by sharing, you know, it's real, it's in us, of getting that validation that I did it. Because so often you're like, yeah, I know I kept like I had some water that's like better, and I wrote my journal for a minute. And that's where we go. Like we don't give ourselves credit and like, holy crap, I did that. Like the 75 hard challenge is a really good one because everyone's like, yeah, I'm doing this thing. Like, look, everybody noticed, everybody. And we don't want that necessarily that masculine energy in it, maybe a little bit to kind of like get yourself into the habit of it. But we
Yeah.
want you guys sharing what you're doing, because I'll say it, and I know a lot of you listening are going to be like, oh yeah, she totally did that to me, because since I started this and I've been publicly posting about it, there's a lot of people in my life that are like, hey Meg, since you've been doing that, like I decided to join you. And I'm like, I know, because the energy that I've been putting out there is like, we got this, guys, like all of us together. And you are going to have an effect if you are open and you share. Like you're going to get
Yeah.
the people around you like moving a little bit, because motivation is very, very juicy. It's something that people are like, I can't get motivated, but like, look at this person. She's super motivated. If she can do it, maybe I can do it. And it's
Yeah.
real. Like it's
It is real.
very, very real. So
Right.
if you share, not only are you giving yourself outward credit and validation, you're then not going to be seeking it from others because you gave it to yourself. Like, hey, look
Yeah.
what I just did. Super proud of myself. And you're going to invite others to join you in this like consistency thing. So share, but also like, what's something that makes you like, I mean, we all wanted, what was it called? Allowance when we were a kid. We all like, there's all these like things that you could be like, if I do this every Friday, I'm going to go to Dutch Bros. Mine's every Tuesday because Tuesdays are my day. Every Tuesday, I'm going to go to Dutch Bros if I was good for a whole week, right?
Right.
Now, there's also potential judgment in there of like, oh, I forgot a day, so I don't get my Dutch Bros. Dang it. I don't want that energy either, but I want you incentivizing yourself. I want you
Right.
being like,
And that's
if
it
I
right
do this,
there.
I'm,
So, like,
yeah,
when you tie what you want to something, like tying it to an incentive, it's psychology. Like, you're going to be more
yeah,
motivated to do it. If you're like, I've been dying to go get a hot stone massage, but that's not something I'm going to splurge on myself. If I do this for a month, I'm going to go get my hot stone. I'm going to earn my hot stone massage. That's
mm-hmm.
just a way to tie it to it. I on the same time, I will be the first to tell you, like, treat yourself. You don't need to earn anything.
Mm-mm.
So we want to be very clear on this. We're just doing this for fun to add a little extra incentive to make it so that it sticks a little bit better for you by adding it to something
Yeah,
that you do want. But I
yep.
do not go down to the roller coaster of like my worth is tied to this outcome.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. And
No.
and like celebrate yourself. So if you get the Dutch Bros, like make it celebratory, make it like I did that. I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah.
I'm so yeah. And if you're like, you know what? I missed today and I'm still getting my fucking Dutch Bros because I recommitted to myself and I want it to be this exciting, fun, joyful I'm doing this because I care about myself, because I love myself. These are micro changes that are actually really hard to implement. Like, I'm actually doing a lot of work here because you are truly, like, you
Yeah.
truly are doing a lot of work by making these changes. So that's the
Right.
last component, giving yourself credit. Talk about it, share about it, tell your people. Also, if you tell your people and they're using it against you, set some boundaries, because that's something
Yeah.
I noticed. Like, did you do that thing today? And instead of it being encouraging and uplifting and motivating, it was like, oh no, now they're holding this against me. Set some boundaries and be like, hey, if you want to be my cheerleader, I'll take it all day, and I'm stoked. And I'm only committing to myself. You're not committing to me. You're not committing to Meg and Andie for sure. Like,
No, absolutely
we
not.
just want to we just want to see you thrive. We just want to
Yeah.
see these changes, because truly these changes have been life-changing for me. I have
Right.
energy like I have never had. You guys, I have a newborn. Like, I should be so tired. And I do attest it to these commitments. It's not just like oh, this would be kind of fun to try. Like, I'm living it, and it feels really good. So I want to share. And I want that to be your energy too. Like, hey guys, I'm trying this thing. Like, you should try it too. It really works. One of the things that I've added, the commitment this week I've added to myself, is I'm going to take medicinal mushrooms every single day. I'm adding it to the drink that I'm already creating with my protein and with my grains. I'm adding a scoop of lion's mane and turkey tail to that. So these habits are also, I'm just stacking them on top of each other. It's not requiring more time. It's not requiring more of me. It's just adding more. Like, it's just, I add 3 seconds of getting that one lid off and scoop into it. Like, that's all I'm
Right.
adding. So this is an invitation also to build some consistency before spring comes. So then when spring comes and all this airy season is like lighting a fire underneath you, you're like, cool. I've got this consistency already. I could add a few things. That feels good. That doesn't feel like a
Yeah.
lot. Doesn't feel hard. Because sometimes spring hits us and we're all just start sprinting. And we're like,
Yeah.
okay, spring's here. Like, we can be outside. Now we're sprinting, and then we truly burn out before summer even comes. Like,
Yeah.
we use all that fire. But if you have
Right.
consistency already,
You're laying the groundwork so that you're more prepared so
yeah,
that you can fly once that spring energy hits us. So this is like very
yeah,
basic. Like, let's get our human skin suit tied in. Let's get
mm-hmm.
her taken care of, or him. We have a couple
Yep,
dudes that listen to us. We're getting this like
yes,
we're getting this tied in so that my human is taken care of, so that when that spring energy kicks in, that soul human connection is going to fly, because you're going to have all these like downloads coming in. You're going to have all these new energies of wanting to create. So you've got to take care of
mm-hmm.
that human so that you have the energy to continue with those creations as they come in, and you're being guided to step into them.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And if you look at the challenge too, we're carving out little containers of time and energy for very specific intentions that's just going to grow throughout spring. Like, we're
yeah,
planting these cute little seeds of
little baby
consistency
seeds.
so that our manifestations can become bigger. Because if we have a consistency in our nutrition, in what we're telling ourselves and our stories, and we're writing them down, that is manifestation at its most simple form, truly. So this is going to evolve, and Andie and I have a series of master classes that we can fill dropping in, and we're starting to channel specifically for manifestation. And it's going to start like, I'd love to tell you that, like, Andie and I have all the secrets to manifestation, and like, you're gonna do it, and we're excited, and like, you're no, that's not how it goes. Literally, it's gonna take these teeny little habit changes, and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna see massive changes. And we're
Yeah.
excited to help you guys like navigate and process that. But this is the first layers. And you've heard it in multiple of our episodes where, like, sweet Olivia, when she's like, I just started doing I am statements or I am affirmations. Like, we're building those foundations,
Right.
because truly that's where it's life changing. Like, that's where we're going to see massive changes. So join the challenge. And
Yes.
our last little cute slide is like, we love you and stay weird. Like, that's so important. Like, stay your weird self, stay in your magic, and we love you. So join us. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you be a part of this. We will put all of the links below to join the Facebook community, to join the challenge. And so we hope to see you in all of it. So till next time, stay weird and
Stay
we love
weird.
you.